feel martial arts should be taught in public schools as required curriculum?
I used to think so. I did. I used to think so. But now, no, I don't. I think it would be a nice elective to have in high schools. But the problem with that is you have to have a qualified teacher. And gosh, you know how few of those there are, period. There's just, I mean, how many qualified teachers does Wilmington really have? I mean, there's maybe, even if I arrogantly put myself as one of them, there might be 6 of us, 5 of us maybe in the whole city that are really qualified to teach. So no, I don't, because I don't think it would ever be practical to get that many. It would be, I mean, they tried it in Japan and it worked, but you know, Funakoshi did a lot of work towards that. He truly believed in that. But then then that's where some of the watering down of Japanese karate happened, because they wouldn't teach throat grabs and killing techniques to 12-year-olds, because that makes sense, because they might use it on each other, get mad and use it. So they took similar techniques and they changed them up in the forms and took out a lot of the killing moves in them, the military stuff, and put in more sports stuff. So it can be good and bad, but on the whole, I think it'd be a great elective to have in the high school curriculum. I think for some kids it would be a great alternative to playing basketball. And I was a PE teacher for 8.5 years, but team sports isn't for everybody. Some kids can't excel at team sports, but they could excel at a martial art. Mm-hmm. I think Tai Chi would be a great thing to offer in high school too.
Yeah. One in particular that I really like that you had told a while back, and because I think it's a good lesson, is just as much as a good story. About the guy who was surrounded by 5 or 6 guys.
How graphic do you want me to get on that story?
Exactly. Do what you can with it.
Okay. You want me to tell it twice and have a nice version and a real version?
There you go. You can have a nice version.
Okay. This time I'll tell it in the nice version that you could show it to most people. Okay, so once I was shooting pool, and there was a guy that I can't really say friends with. He was more just a good acquaintance, and he was a really good pool player, and he was hustling these guys. He did that a lot at the time. He did a lot of hustling, and he probably won a couple $100 off these guys. And these are big burly guys, and he was on his way out, and these guys were following him. And I was just like, oh, this isn't good for him, and as I was watching, he goes, hey, Brent, you got my back, right? And I was like, no, I'm not interested. And it wasn't because I was scared of fighting. I like to fight. I didn't like this guy all that much, and he probably deserved what he was going to get. And so I watched from a distance as these 5 guys get around him, and they're talking junk, and I could tell it was escalating. I was pretty close, and I was watching it, and they wanted their money back. He said, no, I won the money, you're not getting it back. And there was, of course, a lot of profanity involved. And finally said, look, if we're going to fight, let me explain something to you right now. The first one of you blankety blank MFers that touches me, I'm going to grab your balls and I'm going to rip them off. I was like, that first person that gets me, fine. You guys might kill me, you might beat me unconscious, but the first one of you guys that grabs me, I'm not just going to hit you, I'm grabbing and I'm going to rip them off. I mean, he's like, I swear to God. I mean, he went real graphic on exactly how he was going to crush them. And those 5 guys were like, and the one guy, the first guy just goes, and he was the guy closest to me, he goes, well, to hell with that. And he walks off. And I was like, wow. And all of a sudden there went from being a 20% chance of getting your testicles removed forcefully from your body to being a 25% chance. And you saw those other 4 guys adding the math up going, well, this guy might be serious. And he was like, don't think I can't do it. You guys might kill me. But one of you guys is going to have a really horrible week. And I was like, okay then. And then the next guy wanders off, and then the whole thing just dispersed, and I was sitting there in awe, just going, holy crap. And of course as he walks by, he's like, oh yeah. To me, and I was like, oh, thanks. I was like, sweet, okay. And yeah, I kind of deserved it, admittedly, but I was like, if I ever get in that situation, I don't know if I can make 5 people that angry, but if I ever got in that situation, I will use that. I absolutely guarantee, because there is no man I have ever met that is interested in even having a 1 in 5 chance of getting his nards ripped off. It's just not one of those things that any of us is interested in. And that was probably the best application of the concept we're teaching. He never had to lay a finger on anybody. But they knew he was serious, and they knew he had the training to do it too. And he pulled it. Later on, years later, he got craned right across the forehead with a guy just sucker punched him with a pool stick when he wasn't looking. Guy had huge stitches all the way across. Looks like a Frankenstein scar. But man, oh man, that moment was great. And I really, guy had to be, I was probably 21, maybe 22 at the time. And so you're talking, God, 17, 18 years ago. But I vividly remember it like it happened yesterday. It was such a great moment.